Artwork, critiques, Photoshop files, and reference sheets are all available on my Patreon. Well, hello there, you delicious guys and girls. I hope you're all doing bloody well. My name's Mikey, and welcome back for another episode of Draw With Mikey, episode 103. My goodness. So, guys, I hope you're all well. For those of you who are a bit new, hello and welcome. This is the super casual, rambling, swear word alert, spoiler alert, midweek kind of show on the channel, where basically it's my opportunity just to catch up with you guys, have a real casual talk about stuff, and basically I get to read through the comments section and say hello to you lot. So if you've got anything that you'd like to say to me, of course, smash yourself into the comment section below. With any luck, I'll be able to read it out next time around, and as ever, I'm going to do my best to try to keep my answers relatively short, just so that we can power through, touch bases with as many as you guys as possible. The whole point is to talk to you. That being said, there was no DWM last week, which it happens from time to time. So hi guys, basically welcome back. Things have been a little bit quiet on the channel. In fact, for me on the interneting side of things in general, over the last 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half, something like that. And it's kind of a mix of things. I've had some stuff going on at home, a few bits I needed to sort, and also I just started, like, I don't know what kind of illness this is, and I'm starting to suspect it might be psychological, because I just started, like, I had a really jippy tummy for a few days, and I was sweating loads and feeling like really cold, but sweating and shivering a lot. Basically, I think I have withdrawal symptoms, but I don't know what from. I don't think I stopped anything. So basically, that was all going on. I think maybe, like, in my brain, I just needed a tiny bit of a break, which I hadn't quite prepared for. Anyway, vis-a-vis, we are slowly coming back. There's plenty of videos to be made and things to be done. But let me just say, you know what? Those little breaks are very important to somebody like me, and I think it did me the world of good, because I'm actually so super keen to kind of get cracking again on some content. So hi, guys. How the devil have you? Last week, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Last episode, which was 2 weeks ago, I did ask you about what's going on with you guys and Inktober, because that is obviously one of those massive things that takes over people's lives. I remember at the end of October last year what Inktober did to me, and I probably asked you, what the hell is it doing to you guys? Are you keeping up? Are you getting all of that done? Are you following the prompts? Are you still having fun? Which is probably one of the most important aspects of it. Anyway, all of that being said, also, always that disclaimer, get yourself a cup of tea if you can. And don't worry guys, I'm not tired or anything like that tonight. We are starting this episode well into the evening. So I dare say you're probably going to listen to this on a Thursday. I don't think it's going to quite make the Wednesday slot. Probably got a few bits to do instead of rendering this video. I need to use a computer for a few other things anyway. So into the comment section of 2 weeks ago. Pit Desin says, hello good looking guy. Pit Desin. I suspect that's design and artistic stuff in French. So, merci beaucoup, monsieur. What a lovely first comment. Just a good-looking guy comment. I'll take it. And, dude, you should have seen me when I was doing all that weird sweating earlier. You missed out. And Chaos Grunt 22 says, I see Mikey. I see Bowsette. Now I sit down to watch this shit. Oh, dude, thank you so much. Edit, I've missed some of your newer videos because I've gotten my first career job out of college, so I've got some catching up to do since I missed the last episode. A pet peeve I have is fixing a bug in my software and it creates 2 more. Also, keep doing you. Also, ×2 on a Patreon. Intro is not annoying. Oh, thank you so much, Chaos Grunt. Yeah. Just reminded me, as you probably know, you get this little intro now to a lot of my videos where it's just like blah 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 on Patreon, and I was a bit worried that was a bit too much in your faces, but maybe you guys are kind of okay with it, in which case, great, thank you so much. Jack the Ripper says, okay Mikey, I'll start drawing again. Jeez. Yes, got him. Got him, everybody. That's what I'm all about. I'm going to make you do those draws. I'm going to force it into you. I'm going to give you that need. Although you've probably all got the spark inside of you, I'm just one of the gateways to get involved, although there are plenty of methods. Actually, going back to what Chaos Grunt said, thank you so much, by the way, on the keep doing you thing as well. I do greatly appreciate that. It's nice to be validated. Catching up to do, and you've got, that was it, the career job out of college. Awesome. Congratulations, by the way, dude. Sorry, I just wanted to come back and actually say, dude, good on you. CML says, have you ever really thought about creating a manga, and why or why not? And love your videos, by the way. CML, thank you so much. That's a great question. Yeah, so like, I do have a manga idea in my head. It is loosely written out. The essence of the first chapter is vaguely in place, but you have to do loads of like thinking about how that's going to tie into the later arc. The overall core theme of what drives characters, which is hyper important, I kind of have it down for most of the characters in the first chapter, but in terms of the actual, like, the world building side of it is what I'm really enjoying, but there are a lot of details I want to pin down before I do that. And there's kind of two main schools of advice on this. Don't worry guys, I'm going to try not to ramble too much. I hope you're all doing bloody well, by the way. It really feels like it's been a while for me. Anyway, I'm too hyped right now, I'll calm down. So there's this thing about, like, if you're thinking about something like this, just do it. Like, and I talk about this all the time, right? Make the manga. Just draw it whilst it's now and it's bad and you've got something to work with. But there is another school as well, which says, don't make the manga you've been thinking about for ages. Make a one-shot manga first and do it, so that you've got the experience of it, the idea of paneling, and then that doesn't have to be perfect because it isn't your big baby project that you've got in the back of your mind, right? So you can get a bit more adventurous, start making mistakes. What this kind of article went on to say was basically maybe never do that big one you've got in the back of your mind. Work quick, work fast, and express shorter story ideas for a while first. So I kind of half agree with that, but the idea of doing like a rough different thing first is also on my head, and that is the whole Elvenheim Elftopia thing that I've got kind of rattling around in the back of my head for something else, but details another time. Anyway, thank you so much for asking. Yeah, I absolutely think about that stuff, but the YouTubing and life and everything else, you know how it goes. Time. Hitchin Piggy says, Mikey, please draw Lisa from JoJo, or anything from JoJo, please. P.S. Very, 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 very beautiful and nice draw. I'm in love with it. Thank you so much, Hitchin Piggy. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, I keep forgetting, we did a Bowsette Redhead version as well. Because, by the way, Hitchin, I am writing down this idea. Lisa. Cheers, dude. Because obviously we're still riding that hype train, and I wanted to do the red-headed variation from the start anyway, and I thought I'd just do a rougher version for a DWM, you know, instead of taking it to a final art piece, get the rough idea out of the way but without quite getting the painted texture brush out for loads of finishing, which was great. Really interestingly, that got age restricted by YouTube, whereas the previous version, the blonde Bowsette, never did. And if you guys want to see something cute, by the way, it's not as simple as just this. I know the length of the video, the type of content, the analytics all affects like the click. But if you look at the difference between the two, YouTube didn't age restrict the one I did on a Saturday, so what's that, over 200k views, because YouTube kept promoting it. But it did age restrict the one from the last DWM episode, but it didn't age restrict it immediately. So it got quite a few views, went up to about like something 25k views or something, then YouTube age restricted it, and even though they say it doesn't affect how it gets promoted, which obviously is a lie, if you watch, just watch any content where people discuss this, all of a sudden the views stopped because YouTube suddenly started to no longer promote that video in like people's feeds and stuff like that. That's just me just harping back to the whole nature of a beast conversation, but we sort of went through a couple episodes ago. That's not really me bitching about it, just kind of saying there's an example of something that I've mentioned before. Anyway, great. Kartoffelkopf says, you're way too nice for this kind of content. Oh, Kartoffelkopf, that's like a backhanded compliment. I mean, I'll take it. I'll sip this tea. Thank you very much. Am I the nice... oh my god. Am I the nice face of lewd art? Am I the nice guy of just borderline porn? I don't know. Maybe that's probably not what you want to be known for. But no, it's very kind of you. Too nice for what I do. Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't just do lewd women all my life. That's certainly what I focus on the YouTube channel. But I love doing loads of other things. In fact, for this very episode, probably what you're seeing in the background right now, because obviously the whole point of this series is I kind of ramble on for about an hour and catch up with you. It's great for me because I catch up with you guys, kind of temperature check what's going on in the channel and have that interaction with the audience, right? You don't want to get too lost up your own arsehole when you do stuff like this. But also, one of the main kind of uses it has is if you guys are kind of getting your own artwork done in the background, maybe you just need something that's, you know, a bit of rambling for about an hour. That's kind of the other function that this series seems to have, which is why I'm always asking you guys, what are you guys working on at the moment? What are your projects? In fact, that's what I want to know. Excuse me, I'm just shifting in my chair because I've just gotten really interested. I'm still having an Inktober-like question for you guys, but we are on the probably by the time this comes out for you, 18th of this month, right? We are over halfway, so how has Inktober affected you? Have you kept up? Do you love it? Are you sick of it? Have you found that it's really grown? What are your favourite pieces for Inktober? Like, which ones have really stood out for you? Or are there other Inktober artists who've really just blown your mind with what they've done, and like you're kind of following a little bit more along with them? Or has it opened you up to other like specific inking artists whose style is just so specific and like fantastic in technique that you really want to get involved and kind of change what you're doing? So I'd love to hear how this has been affecting you, or if you've just completely decided not to do it whatsoever, just like I have, so that you can get on with the rest of your life. Win-win in either attitude. Spren is on the notification squad. Thank you so much for hanging out. And Elmer's Glue says, it's the spooky month, my favourite time of year. I love the whole Halloween aesthetic and watching scary movies and playing scary games, and of course for Halloween parties. I have the same attitude about Inktober, but I don't think I'll do it every day like I did last year, but I'll certainly dip my toes into the pool for a few places. Hashtag spooky mega mega, hashtag sip of blood, hashtag hard boo crew. Oh my god, hardcore boo crew. Oh shit. Oh guys, maybe I should have like prefaced today's episode with a load of ooh. Okay guys, this is what I'm going to try to remember for next week's episode. We're going to make it a spooky DWM episode. I'm going to get some overlays so that we've got loads of pumpkins and cobwebs. That's what Halloween's all about, right? Pumpkins and cobwebs and other suchery. And yeah, we'll make it really themed up. I didn't think to do that at all for this week because I'm so out of touch. Anyway, yeah, I'm glad, Elmer's, that you like that vibe. I know a load of people do. I always kind of think about it like, I mean, the opportunity to stop and get back into horror films and that whole genre of stuff I think is really good anyway. The origins of Halloween, no time to get back into it, but I know it's kind of a mixed story. And I kind of see it a bit like Christmas. If you do loads of Halloween content, it's great. But it only is useful in Halloween. Not that I'm doing any content right now, obviously. I'm only just getting back into the swing of things. So yeah, I do like this. I certainly like the aesthetic more than the Christmas vibe, but it is very much another one of these kind of set times of year things, which is always like, it kind of catches me a little bit off guard if I, in my own head, have my own personal game plan of things that I'd like to get done. Because then it's like, oh, I better stop this and start drawing some witches. Oh, that being said, I better start drawing some witches. Oh, that being said, I was going to tell you what you're seeing in the background. So I got back on Twitch after a bit of the hiatus times hiatus as well. Oh my god! Hunter x Hunter is back on. Okay, I can't talk about that here, but guys, if you're reading Hunter x Hunter, you're probably aware Hunter x Hunter is back on, and I'm so fucking pleased. Yes. Anyway, so I was back on Twitch and we're doing another of the Mikey the Gathering cards. So we had 3 keywords. First keywords were tentacle, chess piece, and marijuana. Marijuana, which isn't legal in the UK, so I had to, you know, look it up on Google and work out what's going on. But we were doing this kind of like conceptual piece where this particular playing card, or the powers within, is all about like, you know, that dark cabal subtly controlling like your own monarchy from the background. Like you think the president's in power, but really it's the shadow government. So I wanted to kind of express something like that by using this kind of dark, tentacled, shadowy figure in the background who's really blowing marijuana smoke into the nostrils and controlling through chemicals and other such things the big players, air quotes, on the chessboard. So it's a bit conceptual, but hopefully it kind of makes sense as an image by the time you see it get to the end. And also in real life that image isn't quite as dark, but I'm always trying to work out how to get the settings right on OBS so that it records my monitor the same way that I personally see my monitor, because it's either too blown out or too dark. I'm constantly bouncing between the two until we find the correct spot. Or just lower the contrast? Maybe that's what I need to do. I don't think it... We'll come back to that. That might be the answer. Anyway, Woot Woot says YouTube must be drinking again because it's 95 likes and 50 views. Oh yeah, whenever you pop a video in early, like all the stats take a while to actually catch up and do anything good. Sporemound says, what grinds my gears is Northerners ordering unsweetened tea down south. Savages. Oh, so obviously a couple episodes ago, so many things we need to catch up on, guys. This is where there's an argument for this series to go from being an hour long to being an hour and a half long. Per episode, so there is an argument here that we should make these rambles a little bit longer so I can capture you guys. Anyway, a while ago one of the episode things was what grinds my gears, and that's what I wanted to hear from you guys, which is always good because that really like gets the juices flowing. But Northerners coming down south and ordering unsweetened tea. Now Sporemound, when I was a kid, in fact, you saying the keyword, I just want to put more tea in my mouth. That's conditioning. As a kid, I used to like a sweet cup of tea. And I've said this before, but basically, I came off of sweet tea and now I just drink unsweetened tea. Not because like of a health thing. By the way, cutting out sugar is like really good for you, obviously. But for none of those reasons. It's because of this like background paranoia where basically it's all about reducing the things that can block you from enjoying tea. So for a lovely cup of tea, I need some tea bags, I need a mug, I need boiling water, and I need milk. And I used to also need sugar. And if there was no sugar in the house, I'd be like, oh, I can't enjoy this cup of tea. So now I've kind of learned to come away from that because I want to be able to enjoy a cup of tea with as least amount of requirements as possible so that there's as few things to go wrong as possible. And I did try to go hardcore and have a go at drinking tea bag tea without milk to kind of see, well, if I can enjoy tea without milk, then that's one less thing holding me back from a good cup of tea, right? And guys, this might sound quite intense, but I shit you not, this is genuinely things that I think about a lot as an English person. But I just couldn't do it. Tea without milk was too nigai, too bitter. Nigasugimasu. Nigasugimasu? Too much anyway, nonetheless. So that has to stay, but that's why the sugar is out. So Spore Mound, I'm sorry, your grind has been reflected. It's not going into room 101 from way, way back. Joj Cooch says, who's ready for Jojo Friday? Jojo is back on. I know there's stuff happening. I can't watch or be involved with any of it, guys. I'm so sorry because I'm not that far ahead. I'm not caught up. You guys have been encouraging me a lot, especially on Twitch, to try to watch Jojo's part 4. The fact of the matter is, I had so many feelings and emotions in part 2. I want to watch part 2 again first, and I still haven't done it. Mike Soul 314 says, I don't find the Patreon thing intrusive. Oh, thank you. In fact, that was what ended up sending me over there. I saw that you mentioned Photoshop files, so I subscribed for the $10 tier to get those. Oh, Mike Soul, thank you so much for saying. That's great. Good news. On that note, do you think you'll release any Photoshop files of tutorial type work? I'm trying to learn how to draw all of the files that you have, which are super complex, and I'd love to see somewhere you have layers of like how you break down the face and bed onto it. Love what you do, and thanks. Microsoft 314. That is a very good point, and something that I'm trying to address. Yeah. So obviously we've got tutorials packs for like $1 on Patreon, and they've got most. They haven't got everything because it's come to light that I think some of the earlier tutorials were done in a sketchbook, which is now in a box full of sketchbooks in another house. So I will get back to that and we will expand that pack. But yeah, so I kind of had this test run with a tutorial which was colouring skin in Photoshop. I'm going to be doing another one which is basically super basic, setting up a Photoshop page, you know, what proportions, what ratios, and drawing clean lines. If we make that little opening tutorial, setting up Photoshop and how to draw clean lines, then as I kind of work in that, I will do that with a very particular focus of thinking, right, these really small, simple Photoshop files compared to when I'm spending, you know, 20 hours on a piece or something, these could get popped into, because they're not super big to download, these could get popped into the tutorials worksheet pack as well, because I want to make all of that part accessible, right? It's that balance. I want, in my head, this is how I kind of want a Patreon, and, you know, what you hope for is rarely what turns out in life. But that being said, all the tutorials I do on the YouTube, I'd quite like a bit where if you guys are getting like the tutorial reference sheets on Patreon and stuff like that, I want that to be as accessible as possible. So those Photoshop files I happily share and kind of keep at that level. And then all of that like kind of fine big game stuff and the looder it gets, the higher up the tiers you kind of have to go. So I want both some kind of money curtain so that I make money, and also when it comes to, if it's like, you know, you want lewd and stylized art, that's a bit higher up. But if all you're turning up for is because you're trying to learn to draw, that needs to be as cheaply accessible for you guys as possible. So that's what I'm trying to balance, like the kind of one versus the other across the whole Patreon thing. Anyway, thank you very much for the feedback, dude. I do actually gratefully appreciate that. Gaming didn't just die, it was murdered. That's actually your username. Explain yourself. Could you draw medieval armor, Mikey, please? Yes, I could. And I'm assuming you're also kind of saying get that into... Ooh, bloody hell, my words. Get that into tutorials for the future. Oh dear. Tutorials, medieval armor. Now, armors in general are already on there, but different types of armor, there's so many options. Yes, indeed. And Ian Igrigo Femios says, flies and mosquitoes should all die 1,000,000 times over. Oh, and fleas and ticks and all of those disease-infested creatures which are useless for anything and are too small to punch. Yeah, that's what's going to go in your room 101. Yeah, you know what? I'm okay with that. Fuck 'em. I can't... I mean, there's probably some massive ecological disaster that will happen if you actually do it. But as far as I'm concerned, sure, if you want to get rid of mosquitoes and flies and fleas and ticks, fuck 'em. I'm fine with that. Although there's probably, like, you know, creatures which eat them, and something eats those creatures, and we need those creatures to live. But at least get them to fuck off. Definitely. They can all exist, these, you know, insects and creatures, just not in my house, and never allowed to come near me or bite my flesh and skin. The Hybrid Dragon says, the original Bowsette the Nintendo intended to implement. Oh! Hybrid Dragon, thank you. Obviously referring back to Redhead, slightly more alpha Bowsette. I always did like the idea that when Bowser puts on a crown, if, like, the crown's not on perfectly, it's a really aggressive, evil, red-headed, muscly Bowser woman. And then when the crown sits absolutely perfectly on, then it slips into slightly more blondish princess mode. And then you've got, like, the bullets and the chomp chomp, and there's loads of options, loads of options. Rip Tiger 69 says, hey Mikey, hello Rip Tiger. I hate to do this to the Bowsette community, but I'm clapping back. My goodness, with a battle of my own which created an anime character that I'm working on now. Keep looking on Instagram as Young Teddy and Twitter as dark_jackal69 for more details. Rip Tiger, what a lovely bit of self-promo. Good luck on your clapback. I dare say the trend is both too big but also probably really, really over. The fact that right now we're in late October and I would still quite like to do a Buette, even though we are that hype train. It's not even left the station, like it's already in a different country, but yet still I have those desires. And Andre Diaz says, I love your videos. Thank you very much, Andre. And Diego Abrao says, what group of brushes do you use in Photoshop? Ah, Diego, you've just reminded me of something. Okay, so guys, just me typing myself a quick note. One thing that I need to add in, which I haven't yet, I mean, I never said I would, so I don't feel guilty, but definitely intended to, is just separating out a simple set of the brushes that I use, and obviously just uploading them for free. But I just need to separate my set out of this really random... I've got a mix of several packs, and I know that the texture brushes I use from the packs, like I'm not using anybody's texture brush from a pack that you pay for, if that makes sense. The ones that I am using are from free packs, so I'm happy to like share my personal set of choice. But I do need to actually work out how one does that and actually stick that up line. That's a very good point, especially in line with the next setting up your Photoshop canvas tutorial. Oh yes! Okay, next Photoshop tutorial, guys, is setting up your page, how to draw clean lines, and it will come with a link to the brushes pack as well. Or it'll just link, I'll leave it all for free on Patreon as well. Brilliant. Okay, thanks for saying that. Sorry guys, this is the little side ramble I tend to talk about where you probably can't quite tell. Is Mikey reading someone's question? Is Mikey answering someone's question? Or is Mikey just talking to himself and has he kind of forgotten that he's recording an episode? This is generally what the floating theme of all this stuff is. Zookeeper02 says, hi there Mikey, yep, as always I embark on the official Inktober list. Well, hello there Zookeeper02, good to hear. Although I do allow myself to a little bit of slack to fit in and not lose momentum. Yeah, right, I think there can be no true justice if all laws are absolute. I think something like that. I think I'm misquoting Picard. By the way guys, if you're ever feeling a bit emotional about the good of humanity and stuff like that, it's been a rollercoaster month. Watch the best of Picard quotes and Picard speeches. That guy is the OG baseline of what my morality, I think, is. Fucking love that man. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, allow yourself a little bit of breathing room. Try to Inktober all the time. But you know what? If you've got a bit of spare time and you feel like it, do tomorrow's prompt as well today. Get yourself a little bit ahead of the curve, because trust me, at some point during the month you're going to fall behind. If you're a normal human being, that is. If you're an absolute machine, then good on you. Arthas says, I'm also doing Inktober. Good for you, Arthas. And for me, it doesn't take that much time to do the draws. Maybe about 2 hours if I draw a little bit on a sketch pad. Ah, so this is it as well. This is what I'm very bad at. I'm very bad at trying to do a small drawing and then move on. I tend to kind of dig my kind of foundations in a little bit too much and then try to render for way longer than I should do and all this kind of stuff. So I think personally when I was doing Inktober monsters from One Punch Man last year, which I was fucking loving. It was a great opportunity to sink my teeth into some designs which were blowing my mind from that dude. Then I was kind of sitting down and putting hours of time into like just a 5 pieces of paper as well. So yeah, if you can kind of keep it simple and keep it loose and just spend a couple hours, then yeah, ideal. Ideal. Jet Black says, has Mikey ever drawn a One Piece girl? I want to see Nami in his art style. Jet Black, once, far long ago, I did a Nami and Nico Robin thing. You know, I don't even know if it exists or if YouTube deleted it, because YouTube's every now and then does genuinely delete some of my really old SAS videos. God damn you, YouTube. But we'll come back to that. Yeah, definitely. They need redrawing nonetheless, especially after the whole time skip arc and now everyone's a nice, juicy, rounded up adult. Zlander GE says, or Xlander perhaps, says, can you please do the Exo Stranger from Destiny? Xlander. I have never played Destiny, and therefore my opinion is not valid. I do know that. But visually and just everything that I hear about Destiny, it looks so middle of the road. And I know you haven't asked me to ask for my opinion on the game or anything, but it has just appeared to be such a middle of the road kind of expanded series of games. I just couldn't make myself interested. If I had to guess, and again, you guys all know better than me, I kind of assume Destiny is trying to be the latest space opera, if that makes sense. It's trying to be the latest Mass Effect kind of series, or what's that one that I got in trouble with you guys for not knowing more about? The Master Chief series of games? Halo, yeah. So it's kind of that sort of space opera, future ongoing wars sort of thing, but it's trying to have this wide universe too. And it kind of looks like it's tried to include so much that it hasn't specialised in anything. So I'm kind of just like, yeah, okay. A little bit like how Deus Ex Human Evolution, which I bloody love that game, but it had a similar feeling to it where the gunfighting in Deus Ex wasn't quite as satisfying as, say, shooting meaty guns in some other video games is, because that was just one aspect to Deus Ex, and it didn't over-specialise the experience in any of them, which was actually fine. I think balanced for what it was and the kind of game it was trying to be, I think it did okay. But equally, because I haven't played the sequel, but I know that just disappeared off the radar, so I'm assuming it wasn't that mentally good. Anyway, what I'm getting at is, the more you float down the middle of the road, the less interesting any of your edges are going to be. And the more you dive down one special route and you have a really sharp edge into one type of gameplay, you know, the less you're probably going to attract a kind of wider audience who may not know what they want to pick up when it comes to a video game choice, but want something with a little bit of everything. So I understand the clash, but I do think it's kind of symptomatic. You can see that it doesn't draw in specialist players. Wait, what am I getting at? I might be going a little bit of a tangent here, guys. I'm going to just wrap up that answer, whatever it's about. Basically, Destiny characters, I'm sorry, I can't add them to the list because I just know that they would be right at the bottom of said list, even if I pretended to add one in now. But thank you for the suggestion. Nonetheless, please don't take it to heart. Please don't take it as a personal attack on your individual rights. Anyway, Equesta Deventusocus says, I'm participating in... Oh, my God. Let me sip this tea really quickly, guys. That's better. I'm participating in Inktober this year. I'm going to try to finish it, but if I cannot, I won't let it get to me. As a disabled artist, I've learned to do what I can and not worry about what I'm no longer able to do. Good on you! I'm optimistic about my chances and I'm working on a small scale, but I'm also pragmatic. If it comes to health versus Inktober, health wins. Yes, Equesta Deventusocus. That is exactly the attitude I wasn't taking last year, but I was inking, inking for the sake of inking and completing the thing that we had to do, and yeah, it can just get to you a little bit more. So good. I think that's a perfect attitude. Anyway, Bouette next, please, asks Senata Huga. I know we need to do Bouette. Is it too... Oh, wait. Is it too, like, not... Oh, God. Getting really bad acoustics from my windows. Is it too, like, late in the day? Is it no longer... Oh, God, there's a word which is kind of French. Like, it's not au fait anymore. I don't know if that's the right term. But then, as I was trying to find a French word for that sentence that I've just completed, I'd already decided in my head, oh my God, I know better than that. I can draw whatever I want, whenever I want to, even if a train has long since left the station. So yeah, maybe we can still focus on a bit of booing. Sosh Sosh says, I'm requesting something that has never been done on this channel. Draw a male. Sosh Sosh, how clever and witty of you, good sir. But you know, with 5 minutes of investigation, you probably find otherwise. Pyrrha says, hi. Hello, Pyrrha. Right, I need to start Inktober-ing. Good for you. I can't wait to see what you got for us. Oh, I'm not Inktober-ing, Pyrrha. But if you're doing it and you'd be keeping it up, share. Let us know how you're getting on. And Brickbuster says, honestly though, the Patreon plug is so short you could put it in front of every video. Oh, good. Looks like the overall theme is that you're not completely sickened by all of those Patreon intros. Thank you so much, guys. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks for understanding. Yay, I love Bowsette, says Midnight Game. She is my new favourite character. Oh, good to hear. And Patricio Rodriguez says, as of right now, my Inktober is going great. Ah, good to hear, good sir. But it's been only 4 days, and I start my midterm exams next Monday. Rest in pepperoni. Hopefully I'll be able to make some time to draw, but wish me luck anyways. Dude, Patricio, good luck with your exams, man. But this is my first Inktober, so I want it to be a good one. Who doesn't, right? Let me know how you get on, dude. And Good Kun says, nope, I am not going to be inking this October at all. I tried learning to draw for 1 or 2 months, but I got tired of it because it took so long to get better. I'm not very patient, lols. And that was the first time I found your channel. Oh, right. Kun, 1 year deep, welcome along. And after quitting drawing, I had to say, because of yours was such a cutie, which provides... because your art's such a cutie, which provides again every experience, well, which proves again, sorry, every experience is valuable. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed some of the time that you spent getting inking, nonetheless. And thank you very much for sticking around. Christoph O'Donnell says, I've been watching your tutorials and speed drawings. I've been drawing for most of my life, but with work and life I've fallen off the wagon. Some of my drawings are on Facebook and I've had trouble freehand drawing realistic anime characters, but your tutorials have been helpful. Oh, good dude, I'm really glad to hear that. Don't usually post on these. Hey man, that's absolutely fine. If you just listen in, but you know, don't want to comment, that's totally okay. There's no forcing, but do know anyone back there with an opinion or something they want to add, or even if they just need to correct me because I've said something stupid, get yourself in the comments, it's fine, I don't mind. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I like your videos and I can't wait for more to come. Christopher O'Donnell, thank you man, that's really kind. Anyway, Ali Amir says, can you just tell me how much time did it take you to become this good? It will give me some confidence. Ali Amir, I am 34 this year, so like, you know, I've started doing this a bit late, but I have had plenty of like backups. So I had an arty mum when I was a kid. She was like a potter and liked to draw, and my dad kind of put me on like the right guidelines of being observant when I was really young, which kind of, you know, puts like quite a deep pathway into your brain, I guess. Did art at school and all of that sort of stuff, and I've got to be honest, none of that kind of experience or time from then really applies to the kind of drawings and style that I do now. YouTubing last 4 years, that's what's really pushed it. That's really made me step up my art game. It's made me specialise in anime a little bit more than I certainly used to. But also kind of like it locks me into a few things which I always want to kind of just expand and express my way out of, which is quite a lot why when I do like Twitch live streaming and stuff like that, I don't necessarily always draw booby characters. I do like to just explore different things instead. Judy Brown, was that a JoJo reference? Yes, Judy, it was a motherfucking Mikey reference now. I've taken over the JoJo yes roundabout, and it's now the DWM intro. And Alicante Macabre, or Macabre, says, hey Mikey, hello Alante. When will you do the OC drawings? I'm looking forward to seeing you draw my character in your art style. Oh, do you think you've won, Alante, on the Amino entries? Soon. All of that had to get pushed back. I've got a couple reviews which are late, and I've had to get in touch with the product suppliers and actually say, guys, your reviews aren't going to come out on the dates that I said. I am genuinely sorry, because, you know, you have to be a professional, right? And I'm just like, shit, well, let's talk about this. Let me know if, like, you know, you want to reduce the fee and stuff, because I've not met my end of the bargain. So I popped out some emails there just explaining my break, so we'll see how we go. But after those are out of the way, yes, indeed, Made is certainly happening. Although, I've been saying that for what, 4 weeks? 5 weeks already? This is what happened last time. Don't worry, guys, I'm feeling really good about this one. Don't you worry at all. Somebody whose name is in Cyrillic has written something in Cyrillic. Let me just say thanks for even joining in and getting in the comment section, good sir. And Salatic Sot says, what annoys me is people attacking art or artists for drawing things that they like. For example, if somebody likes to draw thick anime girls like yours, Mikey, there are a number of people who will criticise them on that alone. Oh yeah, but that's just life, right? It doesn't actually relate to the quality of the art, but rather they're critiquing the subject, especially when in this example, they'll start calling you bad things like a misogynist for what you like. I'd imagine you've probably dealt with this yourself sometimes. Slatic Sot, yes and no. Interestingly, I've had, as you would expect, plenty, and bear in mind, like, there is nobody running a YouTube channel on YouTube who isn't aware that the YouTube comment section is full of bile and hatred most of the time, which is weirdly why DWM is like my secret little gem. Like, I don't shout out that we do DWM episodes on my channel, because it's like, this is the good zone of comments where we're actually having a conversation. You never know. That being said though, yeah, the amount of times people are just like, oh, I don't like your art, you're a perv, and stuff like that. And you know what? People are always going to throw their comments out the way. You've got to have thick skin. And anybody who kind of probably knows me a little bit more or hangs around and kind of understands that maybe that's not exactly what my focus is, probably isn't going to say something to that. And somebody who is going to throw out something like that, deal with it. I don't really care. I don't really massively care if people don't like what I do. I do care when I make a mistake and I intended something to be A, but it gets interpreted as B through my fault. That's then something that needs clarifying. But if I want something to be A and it comes out as A and people simply don't like A, then, you know, that's a difference of opinion then. So have your opinion and sort off, I don't mind. However, what, thankfully, he says, touch wood, so like being called a perv and stuff like that, I've had a few. Not as many as I would expect from the internet, so I am grateful for that. Nobody so far has ever called me a misogynist, because that is like... that it would imply that... so you can look at my art and just think, oh, the artist behind this is a perv. Fine, that's your opinion. I think if somebody means it and they've called me a misogynist, then that kind of implies not just that they've looked at my art, but they've probably, like, you know, maybe sat through a couple DWMs, or they've got an opinion on me as a person, and then they actually might think that I actually am a misogynist, which would be a completely different kettle of fish. And I'm pretty sure that's not the vibe I give off, but, you know, you never know, right? So perv, yes, I've had a few. Misogynist, none so far, thankfully, because there is genuinely love in my heart, of course. Narian TX says, hey there, Mikey. Hello, Narian. Here's an idea. Oh, go ahead. Draw a sexy female building mashup. Hashtag hardcore crew. Sorry, guys, I've just realised, because I'm kind of leaning a bit on my elbow, I've just realised I've got my mouth really near the microphone. So the last 10 minutes might be really peeking out. I'm so sorry. I'm going to lean back a little bit. Sexy female building mashup. Do you know what? My initial reaction to that was, what? And in the second that I've started thinking about it, I really like the idea. Narian TX. Ooh, we might come back to that. Cassidy Latouf says, hi Mikey. Hello Cassidy. First of all, I want to thank you for your art videos. Oh, you're welcome. I've been in a 7-year art block. Oh mate. And you've inspired me to continue my love for anime and manga. And because of you, I started drawing again. Whoop whoop whoop. Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. Just in a short time that I've picked it up, I have improved a lot, and it's all thanks to you and your videos, so thank you. Well, you're welcome. There aren't many people out there with the charisma and talent that you have who enjoy drawing tutorials just because you want others to succeed. I admire that from you. Oh, Cassidy Latouf. That's making me feel a little bit blushy. Thank you so much. That's a super kind thing. Uh-oh. That being said, you have done an extra paragraph. But as a drawing suggestion, could you please do some more tutorials on anatomy lessons on the bone structure, muscles, and how it comes together for male and female's bodies? I get it for most parts of anatomy and references, but if you were to do some anatomy drawing tutorials, I think that would help my drawing and understanding of the body. Thanks again for everything, and keep up the awesome work. Cassidy, you're welcome. Thanks for the nice comment. And dude, you've actually hit on something that is already on my to-do list. So like there are a couple, how to put it, so in my super long vague game plan there's kind of four different types of drawing tutorials that I want to have under my bow in terms of, you know, what do I think my channel might do in the future. It's kind of more of the same but expanding and going in you know, other avenues for the same topic. So we've got the like anime style drawing tutorials that we do. Most of them focused around pen and pencil and paper, because I want that to be super easy and super accessible for anybody who doesn't have much means, obviously. Then we've got the basics beginner drawing tutorials, which are super basics. Some of them not my finest work, some of them okay. There are a couple more that I want to put into there, like real just assuming nothing. Bare bones. Oh my goodness, having a burp. Excuse me there. Kind of thing. Oh my god, we need to talk about me cooking out-of-date food, but that's for another time. And then a couple more. So one being digital art tutorials, where we focus on Photoshop and getting really colourful with our work. And the other being anatomy for artists, where we do very particularly break down from the skeleton up through the muscle groups exactly what are the building blocks really behind a lot of your artwork, because it's really nice to make them super simple building blocks, but yeah, the more confident you get with your own technique, you're going to start asking yourself a bit more about the reality behind it. So that won't necessarily have a kind of anime manga focus at all. It will just be a bit more kind of, let's look at the human structure and understand why we're doing certain things. So yeah, thank you, but absolutely, that's all part of the long happenstance. Zenobia16 says, what happened to Bride Albedo art from DWM 100? I'm waiting. Zenobia16, yeah, when we did the DWM 100 live stream, we did have a little bit of a play of a rough building blocks version of Albedo from Overlord. So, when we had that episode, for those of you who are there, by the way, thanks for hanging out, I kept saying, like, I didn't realise she had a wedding dress, and I was really confused. And do you know what? I've been confusing myself with two completely different characters. Can I, because I haven't actually looked up who I got confused with, because obviously I don't plan these recordings ahead, but I'm just going to see if I can tell you the other character that I really got confused about. So Albedo from Overlord, I know who she is now, but every single time previously people were saying that, I was like, yeah, I know who that is, it's so-and-so, but it was never so-and-so. Oh god, bear with, because I think I found a picture of this character and I put it in a folder so that I could come back to it. So I'm just going to have a little, this is the worst way to do things, I'm just going to have a quick look around some of my folders really quickly. Reference, organized reference images, quickly. Talk amongst yourselves in the meantime, kids, whilst I'm having a quick look. And then, okay, girls reference, guys reference, shirt reference. So I'm one of those people who's got folders and folders of, every time I see like a good image, I'm just like, oh, that's good, I'll put that in a folder. And in my head, I think maybe one day I'll look at this folder and like do loads of art studies when I've got spare time. And that never ever happens. And then eventually the folder gets about a year old and I delete the folder. Because I just have to accept I'm never going to come back to it. Okay, no, I don't have a good reference image, but we're going to have to come back to that topic on another day, because she's from another manga, like maybe from Fate or something like that, but I don't think it's Fate that I'm thinking of. Anyway, basically, yeah, so we started doing the Albedo, and it was kind of coming along right, but I just don't know if the pose was engaging enough. So I could go back to that one, absolutely, Zenobia, and just finish her up the same way that we did Bowsette, the redhead version. Just do a kind of basic standard, but it's not, I'm not happy enough with the pose that I'd then want to put 20 hours in. I'm happy enough with the pose that I'll put in, say, another 5 hours, and spend an afternoon drinking tea and doing that. So yeah, you'll probably see her again. Maybe for a future DWM, in fact. That would probably be a great time just to fill her in. But I'm not satisfied that that was a final piece-worthy bit of positioning, if that makes sense. Anyway, onward. The Derp Knight says, hey Mikey, hello Derp Knight, how you doing? Oh wait, how are we doing for time? We're doing okay. I'm a first-time commenter, but been around since the 2B DWMs. Oh wow, that was a while ago. I just got around to watching Goblin Slayer, so that was a bit rough. Oh right, guys. So, I have watched the first episode of Goblin Slayer, yeah. A lot of people were talking about this just the other day when I did my first kind of Twitch live stream in a while. So I was like, okay, let's put this one on. And then I can see why people are having issues with it. And basically, guys, I suspect that Goblin Slayer might, and I say might, be doing something relatively clever. I think it might be just, honestly, taking a very adult and subversive look at a very common genre and just putting on top of that a load of real-world implications. If any of you guys have watched Goblin Slayer, obviously you know what I'm talking about. The whole happy-go-lucky attitude in reality doesn't always work out. A band of newbies, let's go take care of things. Oh shit, it's a little bit darker than that. That being said, do I think it was doing it for the shock value? Yeah, I do, definitely. Episode 1 Goblin Slayer has a lot of shock value stuff in there, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think it is kind of saying, this is the standard I'm setting, you know, open your eyes and deal with this sort of shit. So that is quite curious. I do quite like that there's no right or wrong so far in that, and we'll see how it goes. If it goes too far down the whole, you know, gore and boob side of things, then yeah, it's just going to de-evolve into graphic for graphic's sake, which I'm not necessarily hating on. It just has less value to me personally. But if it kind of takes what it's doing and kind of forces you to have a really dispassionate look at a very dispassionate world full of good people and bad people doing good things and bad things, you know, takes it a bit more Game of Thrones direction, then yeah, Goblin Slayer has in it the possibility to do something really, really interesting. So yeah, no set opinion at the moment, but it does indeed have my attention. Anyway, obviously you've mentioned that's a bit rough, and yeah, I get it, right? You're not going to come off of an episode of Goblin Slayer and be like, ooh, that was fun. You kind of come away from it and you're just like, ooh, holy shit, I need a hug. Anyway, Riku Haku says, Mikey, can you make another clothes tutorial? Oh, and possibly a tutorial on how to get the line art straight. Thanks a bunch. Riku Haku, as mentioned, line art's going to be happening sooner or later. And more clothes, absolutely. Plenty to do. Plenty to do. No lo puedo creer. Andrea Solidad Rios. Pero por qué no creo? Lo no creo. Well. Dude, why don't you? Why don't you? Let me know, and what can I do to help about that? Elizabeth Rojas says, ever thought that Bowsette is a kind of a combination of Bowser and Peach? Did you ever think that Bowsette is not really blessed for the line? Wait, not really blessed for at this point? Wait, what are you saying? My boyfriend and certain YouTubers said that also. I mean, it's kind of obvious that the Mario gimmick has died, but a bit of 40 years it has been in play. Just a thought, look it up. Elizabeth Rojas, your sentence structure's already all over the place. I think I kind of get what you're getting at. Are you saying that that like we need to stop getting too far down that Bowsette train because it's a 40-year-old video game trope, and that there is no element of Princess Peach in the Bowsette? This is all pure Bowser, just in a different physical form, but we're still very much looking at an evil reptilian monster kind of situation? Possibly? Anyway, you continue to say, by the way, I am a fan, I also draw myself and I like art. Good for you. However, my question is, and also thanks for commenting, also my question is, does anybody know the life of artists? God, you're missing out just a few little letters that make these sentences really smooth. I cannot take how some artists think it like having you cake eating it. It does not work like that. However, what would you say to younger artists that do think half-assed? What is the point, and how depressed do you get at times? Those are my thoughts. Also, love your drawing. Thank you. Elizabeth Rojas, thank you very much. How depressed do you get at times? Plenty. Just like the rest of everybody else, right? What's a bit of a bugger in art is that if you're a bit depressed, and like we are talking about all sorts of different levels of depression here, so I'm going to talk about really kind of middle of the road, like there might be something underlying, or you might just be having a really blue part of your month sort of thing. But if you are depressed and you have to go off to work, you can wake up and just feel a bit glum, and then you still have to have a shower and go to work, and you can kind of do a day's work. You can put a friendly smiling face on it, or you can even tell your friends at work, I'm feeling really down, but you can still do your job, right? Whereas with art, especially for kind of you're your own boss, you can feel a bit down and you can just not feel like doing stuff like that. So I think you do need to be very self-aware and keep on top of it. Talk to people, obviously, be open, communicate. It doesn't come easily to artists who probably a lot of their inspiration and feelings and emotions behind the work that they do comes from a very personal space, which isn't really one that I think a lot of artists are kind of physically set up to get used to sharing with other people. So it's easier said than done when you say things like, if you're feeling down and depressed, talk to people about it, because it helps, because that in itself is quite a big ask for a lot of people. So yep, I do plenty, but probably no more, no less than everybody else. Everybody's got a problem in their life. Everybody's got their own story of, you know, shit that they've got to deal with, right? That being said, what would you say to younger artists that do things half-assed? I'd say half-ass it whilst you're young, I guess, because when you get older, you do not have that luxury anymore. And if you want to make being older a bit nicer for yourself, don't half-ass it and start to actually commit and learn. But when you're young, you know, you've got ego and the world's an exciting place, so it's tough. And there's other things in your questions. What is the point? What is the point? Sorry. Sorry, that one just tickled me. Also, what is the point? Well, you know what? I don't know if I can help with that question, right? What is the point? When you just sit down at the end of the day and you look up at the stars and you think about how insignificant our planet is in the universe, what is the point? Well, I would say for personal pleasure and for pleasure of your loved ones and trying to make your life a little bit better, have some nice experiences if you can. I mean, the nice always comes with the rough, it's a double-sided coin, and try to make the life experiences of those around you, your family, your friends, your loved ones, try to make their lives a little bit better as well if you can, and in so you'll probably enjoy yours. That is my off-the-cuff version of just what is the point. Fantastic. Elizabeth, you just snuck in like an actual life question with art questions. Nice, nice. Sandrita Varas says, hey, do you know how to make animation? Oh my god. Guys, I bloody love you lot, but I'm not going to lie. Today's episode I've been reading through has just been opportunity and opportunity of submissions for Your Grammar Sucks. Animation, spelt S-H-E-N, which I fucking love you for. No, I don't know how to make animation. I know of animation. I have keyframe rigging and modeling animation, and I've had a little play on stuff before, but no, it is not my forte, I am afraid. Did you know that Photoshop has a timeline animation tool in it? Bloody hell, I only realised this a while ago. But you can drop a video file into Photoshop and it'll break it down by frame by frame. Yeah, not kidding, give it a go. And Lurpis says, is there a way to get every single one of your drawings in some sort of a pack, like all the old ones also? Lurpis, I'm sorry you've missed the boat. There genuinely was, right up till the end of August. All of my Patreon stuff got converted into packs, in the entire content, in the entire range. But they are no longer available. It was a get them whilst you still can situation. Calponic Game says, hi, hello Calponic. Can you do a real-time tutorial for making a full character with simple background? Not from start to finish, not in a single video on my channel. I could do it as a single live stream on my channel, because I think that because if I'm going to do something like that with a background, if I did a really simple drawing, that's minimum 6 hours. If it was an actual drawing of a background, we're talking at least, what, 18 hours, something like that? So that's the kind of thing that would be better for a live stream, because then I can answer any questions on the spot, and that live stream would obviously then stay as a video. But in terms of a real-time tutorial, there would just be too much dead air for that to actually make sense. But I kind of know what you're getting at. We could do it with loads of compressed bits, where I sort of say, right, what I do now is I spend the next half hour focusing on this, and then you time-lapse it so you know what I'm doing, and then I next spend the hour looking for mistakes here, here, and here, and then I kind of time-lapse that. So there's a way to make that work, just not fully real-time, I suspect. Zbearkun Art says, you know, I wanted to do Inktober, but I don't really have a style, so I decided not to. Well, Zbear, you're probably finding that life's a little bit less stressful this month than loads of other people here. And Crimson X says, I might Inktober. Oh, Crimson X, did you go for it then? Because you've thrown in a might, did you actually commit, or did you sack it? And Beatrice Stewart says, hi Mikey, hello Beatrice. Have you ever thought of doing a video on how you started drawing and how you draw now? Yes. Yes. Because I do have to do a frequently asked questions video, which is kind of, there's kind of going to be two things there. It's going to be like a frequently asked questions video about art, and the second half will be a bit more about me as an artist, if that makes sense. So that will probably go into the second half of a video like that, Beatrice, but thank you. And Gregory90 says, hello Mikey, hello Gregory, how have you been? Well, Gregory, as mentioned earlier, it's been a bit up and down, but I'm back and I am keen. Thank you very much for asking. How are you doing? You're also doing Inktober. I have a suggestion about this month. How about Scary Anime Saturdays, where you can draw characters on your list in a scary or sexy Halloween-like way? Gregory90, I'm already ahead of you. I'm thinking about doing a Tatsumaki picture where she's a witch. Possibly. Also, I love the JoJo style intro and Jackson 5 outro. Thank you so much. How far are you in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Oh, you probably heard the answer from earlier, dude. I'm on the anime now, so I'm not on the manga. I only did the first JoJo's Part 1 for the manga. Even though I watch the anime as well, I think the manga is probably a better way to get into it. And as mentioned, I'm keen to rewatch Part 2, but I'm not yet on 4. You say, however, is that you are watching on 4, and you found out how Dio and the others got their stands, and in the 4th episode, as an answer I've never thought about asking. Oh my goodness, I do need to get into the JoJo train, don't I, guys? I do need to get on board. Dear Kasai says, I had this thing for a while that I'm getting out of, but it used to be my only draw in my sketchbook drawing that I would ever consider as a masterpiece. But I found that I force myself throughout my time that my sketchbook is for drawing, enjoying and having fun with things, and so I'm practicing more and with what I enjoy, not put myself under needless stress of trying to achieve something perfect. Anyways, hardcore crew, and enjoy that long talk every DWM. Dear Kasai, thank you so much. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. When you've got a lovely sketchbook and it's full of loads of lovely blank pages of paper, you're just like, wow, the world is my opportunity here. And that's almost daunting, because then you don't want to mark the page and you don't want to like do something that's rough, and you start thinking, no, in my sketchbook pages I need to do this masterpiece, it needs to be this brilliant idea, page after page of wonder. And that is not what a sketchbook's about. Yeah, you can do that. You can put a great piece in your sketchbook, absolutely, if you just manage to hit the ball rolling. But the sketchbook is there to have all of your mistakes as well as all of your joys. Your sketchbook is a good relationship with a man or woman, and or non-defined, where it's not just about the good times. You need to support each other through the rough times, right? If you can't take me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. I don't actually believe in that as a saying, because sometimes you're not willing to take somebody at their absolute worst because you're able to set normal, healthy, comfortable boundaries as a human being in a relationship. So I don't usually think that accepting somebody's mental breakdown is somehow value that I'm then allowed to also fuck them later or something like that. But you know, that's a completely different kettle of fish. That being said, it's kind of like that with a sketchbook. Your sketchbook is there to take you at your worst as an artist, as well as help you go through your best bits. So I would be curious if I saw somebody with a sketchbook, unless they're like, you know, a high-end professional, whose pages weren't full of derpy attempts and mistakes. That would be more normal than just seeing pure good art, because that would tell me that they're doing all their practice somewhere else and they're not putting it in their sketchbook, which is a great place to put it. So absolutely, Adir Kasai, the less precious you consider your sketchbook, the better. Absolutely so. Dimples says Bowser doesn't need a crown because he is perfect the way he is. He's also a DILF. Oh, Dad, I'd like to fuck. Well, Dimples, are you a bit of a Bowser fanboy without the crown? My goodness. And Sabayan2 says, oh, snap. I need to get around to drawing more ink pictures. I like the anime style, but I've always loved comic book art as well. Yeah, me too. Although I have a different relationship with it. Anyway, I prefer the shading proportions of male characters in comics. It makes them look more badass most of the time, and I usually look at anime for female references, but I do go to comics there as well for more athletic women. Interesting thing. P.S. Glad you read Ruby comment. If you're planning to do a character from it, keep in mind that Volume 6 comes out at the end of October. Oh, it's that useful information if I need to join a hype train. Don't worry, I'll never catch that train, but again, thank you so much. How are we doing for time? We're coming close, but we're not quite there. I've got a few more comments I dare say we can read out. Depression says, can you draw Urza again? Just that your style has improved a lot, and it would be cool to see her like that. Yeah, I really do want to... Oh, I'm losing my voice a little bit. Let me just sip this. Yeah, I really do want to look back at some of my older art and just kind of take this kind of newer drawing painting style. But my older art was quicker art. Some of my older art pieces, which disgust me, by the way, to even think about, I was busting them out in a day. So I would go from the initial drawing to finishing the colouring inside of, say, 12 hours. Now, I could never make a full art piece to my idea of a print-worthy standard in that length of time. Just, it's completely undoable. So I'm trying to work out, I don't know, basically, I think part of getting better at art, and by the way, this is only for me because this probably isn't like a hard and fast rule, but part of developing my art style and taking it to a higher standard is as simple as just accepting personally, you know, on a very personal level, that I'm not going to work fast, and if I do want to make a better piece, there is no shortcut. I simply have to put in more hours to that piece. That's the only way we kind of get there. So yeah, I don't know if I've honestly improved as an artist in terms of my technique. I've definitely discovered some things which have changed my style, but I think the main effect is that I've simply come to accept that an art piece is going to take longer, whereas really what I'm still trying to do on the surface is find the quickest option. How can I work a bit quicker and a bit smarter? My best pieces are when I'm not being smart and quick. It's when I have just sat down and lost a week and hate my life by the end of it, but you also get some of the best work out of that. the struggle is real. Anyway, we've got time for one more. We have. Devilish says, and what really grinds my gears, yeah, let's finish on a low, everybody. Let's finish on some anger and hate. What really grinds my gears is when someone comes into a live stream of mine and tries to promote their channel, and people that just stop in the middle of the street, abruptly after walking in a busy street, causing everyone behind them to just stop. Devilish, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm always all up in other people's live streams as well, but I never mention that I'm also like a Twitch streamer or an artist if it's somebody that I don't know, because I want to talk about their art, right? You want to see what they, as an artist, I'm assuming you're an art streamer, by the way, Devilish, if not just a gaming streamer. You want to see what they're up to, right? You don't go in there because you want to talk about yourself. People walking and stopping? Yes. Yeah, that is fair. I think you, as long as you're not an old, look, if you're an old man, an old lady, or a young child, then this rule does not apply. Because if old people, I don't know what's going on with an old person, they might suddenly need to stop, okay? Their lives are a little bit different, they might be tired. And you know what? They're old and they don't give a fuck, so good for them. And if it's a kid, come on man, it's just a kid, okay? So don't worry about it. That being said, if you are like, I don't know, what should we put on this? I'm going to say 16 to 55. If you're 16 to 55 and you do just suddenly stop at the end of the escalator on that London Underground, not hard, it's not allowed to be hard, okay, because that's assault and it can give you brain damage, but very, very lightly, the person behind is allowed to give you a little slap on the back of the head, okay? Not hard enough to knock your dentures out, but light enough to let you know that you're pissing people off. That, I think, is acceptable. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. It's probably not okay, but I think it's okay. Okay guys, and that takes us towards the end of it. Yes, how did today's DWM episode go? Basically, Mikey rambled a lot and then said it's okay to harm people. Fantastic, I'm so glad you stayed. It has probably popped us a little bit over the hour, but you guys who've been looking up from your screens and seeing what's going on, you've probably noticed that for the last little bit, you've been watching all sorts of fantastic, delicious names scroll through. Those are the delicious patrons on Patreon. A great big thank you to everybody for the support as ever, especially when I've just had a little bit of downtime as well, because you're just like, ooh, am I giving enough back? But don't worry, on Patreon you get your sweet rewards. And a super extra big thank you to the Hardcore Crew tier. That includes Breton Foster, you fantastic individual, Mateo Erig, I bloody love you mate, Gabriel Castro, as mentioned in the message, Gabriel, oh my god guys, I didn't realise I'm going to be really quick here because we're out of time, I didn't realise all these years, I fucking joke you not, that my Patreon had a communities tab. Fuck the bed. So I'm always getting alerts, and whenever I check my messages, I get alerts for that. And whenever people comment on my posts on Patreon, I get alerts for that. So I try to reply to everybody and talk to people. Turns out, for God knows how long, people have been posting in this community tab on my Patreon page, and I've been blanking you motherfuckers. Oh my god, so I've just been realising this. And anyway, as I was going through, Gabriel, top guy that he is, has been saying all sorts of encouraging comments on loads of other people's posts, so I just wanted to stop and acknowledge that. That's really cool. Also, other fantastic people include Hamongchi L, an absolute old schooler and really supportive bloke, and Zahaki as well. Fucking gratefully appreciated each and every one of you. Zahaki's been around for fucking ages as well. Anyway guys, I'm so sorry that I'm rolling over an hour, but yeah, that just came back to me. I cannot believe I had a community tab on my own Patreon page and I didn't know it was there. I'm such an arsehole. I've been blanking people for so long. Oh god, you just have to learn to forgive yourself and move on, right? Anyway, what I'm really getting at is a bloody love for patrons. Thank you so much for your support as ever, guys. Really, just art project wise, what are you working on at the moment? Are you up to anything that you'd like to share? And you know, how are your feelings about Inktober? Did you ditch it altogether, or have you powered your way through? I feel like we need a more solid question, but that's pretty much all I've got for the moment. So get yourself in the comments section. Let me know anything. It can be art or any questions or anything at all. Nothing's really off the table. And with any luck, I'll read it next time round. Have a bloody lovely week, guys, and take care.